All right, so last Wednesday, the Gleaner made the public aware that there's a shortage of translators and interpreters. But why? Well, the president of the Translators and Interpreters Association, Sandra Hamilton, and interpreters Anthony Aking and Keneal Thomas are here with us to talk us through that. Good morning to everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
One behind me.
Good morning.
Who's that? Keneal?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
Keneal behind us. So this is overall different languages and
Yes,
sign
spoken
and everything.
languages.
Sign languages.
So when you say spoken languages, what we're talking about? Spanish,
Spanish, French, German, Mandarin.
So all of the
Japanese.
languages we're talking about?
Well, particularly Spanish and French,
Okay.
since that's what most of us learn in high school here in Jamaica
Okay.
and at the university.
So how many we have now?
Well, we have about 25 active members of our association. There are more on our mailing list.
Yeah.
And maybe about 12 interpreters who actually practice
Yeah.
interpreting regularly.
I asked him this morning if the fact that I'm fluent in Spanish, does that make me an interpreter?
Certainly not. Being fluent in a particular language is only the first step.
Right, but it does give you an advantage.
Of course, it gives you an advantage. It's a prerequisite
Exactly.
for qualifying further, specializing as an interpreter. It requires specialized training that takes up to 2 years, 1 or 2 years, normally, depending on the university.
I didn't even know there was a Translators and Interpreters Association of Jamaica.
Yes, and it's been around for about 30 years.
I find it interesting that it incorporates spoken languages and sign.
Well, for the moment, it doesn't include sign languages. We've reached out to the Jamaica Association for the Deaf to include sign language interpreters.
Yeah.
But for the moment, it includes translators who work with written documents. So translating is putting a document that's written in one language into another one, whereas interpreting is oral.
Correct.
So it includes both translators and interpreters, but we're hoping to include sign language interpreters as
I
well.
will see
in the
Antoinette
association.
everywhere. I mean, it's so strange to actually hear you speaking this morning, because usually you're signing.
That's right. That's
Oh,
right.
whoa. And you've been doing that since you were 2 years old?
Well, yes. Well, officially, I've been signing. My father said I knew when I was about 9 months old, but that's a story for another time. And I've been signing since 2, but professionally for about 11 years.
And you said it's not something you ever thought you would end up doing because you never really liked it.
No, I hated it. I hated having deaf parents. I hated being different when I was growing up. I hated the fact that my parents were always behind, and so that made me be behind. And so I never envisioned myself doing sign language at all. I actually wanted to be a pilot, but my parents couldn't afford it, and so I ended up in interpreting. And as somebody said, sometimes it's not what you choose, but it's what chooses you.
Of course, because you're so good at it.
I know.
Hence why you're
Thank you.
everywhere. But why the urgency no to why the call no for more? I mean, it's actually, I've been hearing it for about the last year maybe or so. But
Well-
there seems to be an urgency no because so many folks are coming here.
Well, it is our impression that we're hosting more and more international meetings in Jamaica.
You're being called on more often for interpreters.
Yes, and it is our desire to train more people. There are young people studying languages who want to do translation and interpreting, who don't know how to go about it, and who are interested in the profession. Those who have been practicing for a while, won't be here forever. And so, we need to plan for that kind of succession.
Planning.
Exactly.
Of course.
Exactly. And to give them a reason for studying the languages, you
Yeah.
know. Not everybody wants to teach, although you might end up teaching alongside the interpreting and translation.
And there are people who have the language and they're not doing anything with it.
Exactly.
right.
So instead of ending up where everybody else ends up, this is a lucrative, a different but a very lucrative option, is it not?
Well, yes.
Can be.
It can be. And we want to, be able to provide all the conference services required for an international meeting and not have to import interpreters all the time. I mean, certainly for certain language combinations, we might have to if we don't have the languages available here, but we want to be able to provide those services ourselves.
One-stop shop.
Miss Sandra, go back to my question. I mean,
Yes.
you told him that you needed another couple of years if I'm fluent. To do what? If I understand what you're saying and I speak both languages, why I can't just interpret? What else are we going to learn after that?
Well, there are techniques that you need to learn. We just had a workshop this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, for consecutive interpreting. There are lots of techniques that you need to learn, the ability certainly for simultaneous interpreting, which requires listening to the speaker and speaking at the same time. That is not something that, you know, comes naturally. So you have to learn the techniques, you have to have time to practice during the training, but even over several years. It is said that an interpreter becomes an expert interpreter after 10 years of working.
So you don't have to think about it anymore.
Well,
you know,
it comes easier.
more naturally. Yeah.
It comes more naturally.
And then to
but
document is a different skill by itself.
That's
you
a different
have to be
skill.
able to accurately do that as
Yes.
well. I'm curious, you have patois interpreters?
Patois? No, not yet. This is something that is of interest to us. Actually, our association staged a translation competition that ran from September to December last year, and we had a lot of expressions of interest. In fact, Kenil was the winner of one category.
Go on, Kenil.
English into Jamaican Creole. So that's translation, but for interpreting there certainly is a need, as we saw
I see people
not too long
making
ago.
big money abroad
Yes,
from patois
there is
interpreters?
a need, and that need needs to be addressed.
Okay.
Myself, or Sim and I this morning, we were speaking about what happened in South Africa with Barack Obama and that interpreter
Yes.
where everyone said it's pure foolishness about it.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, what about that, Anthony? Because some of these politicians, them have some, well, not politicians alone, have some big word for let off. Is this second nature for you now, or you still have to think about it a little bit and stuff?
Basically, it is second nature for me now. I remember when I just started working at Parliament, it was difficult because I wasn't familiar with the jargons and the words and the legal language. But after a while, I developed, as you say, confidence. And of course, you have to ask deaf people because it's their language. So when I didn't know the signs, I go in and I say, what this mean? And they'll feed me the sign. And so over time, it just becomes natural, especially because I'm a coder, a child of deaf adults. And so
You're a coder?
yeah, coder, child of deaf adults.
Okay.
So I have 3 parents, a stepmother, a father, and a mother, and they're all deaf.
Okay. So you have emotion of a different kind.
Right.
For sure, which is an
For sure.
advantage.
Do you read lips?
I can. I do it a lot in Parliament, believe it or not, because when they're shouting, I read the lips. I can't hear them.
Do you enjoy it more now, or?
I do. When I just started, it was very hectic, but now that I have the respect of a lot of people, and especially Jamaicans on the outside, you know, they really respect what I do. It really pushes me to continue what I do in Parliament.
It's interesting. If you watch, I think it started with American football. And when the coaches are sending out instructions, they go like this. And nobody couldn't figure out why. And then I read that the other team actually hired folks who could read lips.
Strategy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
Of
serious.
course.
So when the man said,
That's smart.
throw
That
the
is a
ball
boss
to the, yeah, him
move.
said, throw the ball to the right. So just the next man said, them going to go to the right now. So everybody, even in baseball, they put the glove like this when they talk.
Yeah.
And I said, but
that
it
makes
reached,
sense.
but it reaches stage now that if you even said, well, Sim soon come. And I said, oh, him say Sim soon come.
Yeah.
Which is incredible.
Come, Miss Andrew, tell the folks who are watching, who do have the language or who are studying the language, how they get involved in becoming a part of your organization.
Okay, to become a part of the organization, I would invite them to send an email to TIA Jamaica @gmail.com. We are going to be offering more training for persons based here in Jamaica. For the moment, we don't have an interpreter training course, say, at the university. You know.
Should.
Yes. There is an MA in Translation Studies, which is an excellent program.
But that's an MA, so you have to reach there. You need something.
Yes,
at the
but you
lower
know,
level.
for most translating schools, you have to have, first of all, a first degree, because, you know, you have to have advanced knowledge of the languages.
But we don't offer the first degree here.
In
the language,
in
you
the
mean?
languages,
Okay, I
yes,
thought you
in the
meant in
language.
interpretation.
No.
Okay.
But interpreting is usually a postgraduate,
Gotcha.
either diploma or, well, masters for the most part now. But TIA, which is the acronym for our organization, is planning to offer more short courses to address the needs in, you know, in the immediate future.
We have to go. You interpret in what language?
From Spanish and French into English, and from English into French.
So how come not from English into
Yeah.
Spanish?
Just because I spent more years in France. Like I lived in France for a long time.
Okay.
So English into Spanish is next.
Gotcha.
President of the Translators and Interpreters Association, Sandra Hamilton, and interpreters, Anthony Dakin and Kenny Thomas.
Thanks, Antoinette. Thanks, Kenny. All right, guys, stay with us. We're revamping your next Sunday dinner just in time for Sunday coming after this. Soon come. Should have.